When the last drop of rain had vanished from the sky in 1878, Cedar Valley began to die. The sun burned like fire on the cracked brown earth. Fields that once grew tall golden wheat now looked like dried deserts. Cattle stood thin and weak, their ribs showing clearly under their skin. One by one, families packed their wagons, said quiet goodbyes, and left the valley forever. Dust storms rose high, hiding the sun and swallowing everything in gray clouds. In the middle of this dying land stood Ethan Mercer. He was a tall, stubborn farmer of 32 years. His face was tired, and his hands were rough from years of hard work. This farm had belonged to his family for 3 generations. His grandfather had cleared the trees with an axe. His father had built the wooden house with love and sweat. Before his mother died, she had made Ethan a promise. "Never leave our land, son." He had given his word. But now everything was falling apart. The cows were dying of hunger. The well behind the house had gone completely dry. The little creek was just cracked mud. The bank in town sent a cold letter, "Pay what you owe by the end of the month, or we will take your farm." Ethan stood alone in his empty barn that evening, looking at the last 2 weak cows. He crushed the bank letter in his fist and whispered to the hot wind, "I will not give up, not yet." Just as the sun was setting behind the hills like a ball of red fire, a stranger rode into Cedar Valley on an old gray horse. Her name was Josephine Harper. She was a quiet woman with calm gray eyes and dark hair tied back simply. She carried only one small bag. No one knew where she came from or why she had come. She took a small room at the old boarding house and paid with a few silver coins. People noticed her at once. She spoke very little, but her voice was soft and kind. She helped the old lady next door carry heavy buckets of water. She sat with sick children and told them gentle stories. There was something special about her, a quiet strength that made tired hearts feel a little lighter. Ethan first saw Josephine 3 days later. He had gone to town to beg the bank for more time. On his way back, he passed the boarding house. She was standing outside, looking toward the dry hills as if she could see something hidden that no one else could see. Their eyes met for a long moment. "You look like a man carrying the whole world on his shoulders," she said softly. Ethan gave a small, tired smile. "Maybe I am." He walked away, but her words stayed in his mind like a cool breeze. The next week was the hardest of his life. 2 more cows died. Ethan dug their graves under the burning sun until his hands bled and his back felt broken. That night he sat alone on his porch with his head in his hands. For the first time in months, tears rolled down his dusty face. A soft knock came on the door. When he opened it, Josephine stood there, holding a lantern. The golden light touched her calm face. "I heard you might need a friend tonight," she said simply. Ethan led her inside. They sat together by the empty fireplace. He told her everything. The dreams of his father, the laughter of his mother, the fear of losing the only home he had ever known. Josephine listened without speaking, her eyes full of understanding. When he finished, she said quietly, "I can help you." Ethan looked up in surprise. "How? No one can make it rain." "I cannot bring rain, but I can find water. My father was a geologist. He taught me how to read the land, the shape of the hills, the color of the rocks, the way certain plants grow even when everything is dry. Under your farm, about 60 feet down, there is a big spring of water. I am sure of it." Ethan stared at her. "You must be joking."
"I am not joking," she said with quiet confidence. "I have seen the signs since the day I came here." He wanted to believe her, but hope had hurt him too many times before. Still, he had nothing left to lose. The very next morning, before the sun rose, they began to dig. Ethan used his old shovel. Josephine carried the dirt in buckets. The work was very hard. Blisters quickly formed on their hands and burst open. Their backs ached terribly. The sun beat down without mercy.
Days turned into weeks. The hole slowly grew deeper. 10 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet. Neighbors came to watch and shook their heads sadly. "You are chasing a foolish dream, Ethan," one old farmer told him. But Josephine never lost faith. Every evening after work, she sat with Ethan under the stars and told him stories about her father and the secrets of the earth. Slowly, a deep friendship grew between them. When Ethan felt like quitting, her calm words gave him new strength. When she looked tired, he brought her cool water or a piece of bread. Their hands touched while working. Their eyes stayed together a little longer each day. A quiet, beautiful love began to grow in the middle of all the dust and pain. At 50 feet, everything almost ended. Ethan's shovel hit solid hard rock, limestone. The sound was loud and final, like a door closing on all their hopes. He threw the shovel down in anger. "It is finished," he said, his voice breaking. "I cannot break this rock. We have failed." Josephine climbed down into the deep pit. She touched the stone gently with her fingers. "This is limestone," she said softly. "Water is often hidden inside it. We are very close, Ethan. Please do not stop now." She looked into his tired eyes with such strong belief that shame filled his heart. He picked up the shovel again. For 3 more days they worked harder than ever, using picks to chip away at the rock. Their hands bled, their bodies cried with pain, but they kept going. Then, on a hot afternoon, at exactly 60 feet, Ethan swung the pick with all his remaining strength. The rock cracked loudly. A small trickle of water appeared. Both of them froze. The trickle grew into a steady stream. Clear, cold, sweet water rushed up from the dark earth. Ethan fell to his knees in shock. Josephine laughed with pure joy, the first real laugh he had ever heard from her. They hugged each other tightly as the cool water rose around their boots and washed the dust from their tired faces. News spread across the valley like wildfire. Men, women, and children came running from every direction. They stared in wonder as bucket after bucket of fresh water was pulled up. That water changed everything. Ethan did not keep it only for himself. He told the whole valley, "This water belongs to all of us." Together the people built a strong pump and long troughs. Soon the dry fields turned green again. The cattle drank and became healthy and strong. Families who had left began to come back with happy tears in their eyes. Hope, which had almost died, came back to life in Cedar Valley. With the help of grateful neighbors, Ethan paid back the bank. His family farm was safe at last. But one quiet evening, as the valley celebrated its new life, Josephine grew sad and silent. She quietly packed her small bag. "I must leave," she told Ethan. "There are dangerous people from my past who are still looking for me. I have been running for many years. I cannot bring trouble to this good place or to you." Ethan felt his heart breaking again. He took both her hands in his. "Stay," he said, his voice full of love. "I love you, Josephine.
You did not just find water under the ground. You found me when I was completely lost. This valley is your home now, and I will stand beside you against any danger that comes." Tears filled her eyes. For the first time, she told him her full story, how her father had been killed by greedy men who wanted his knowledge of the earth, and how she had been running ever since to save her own life. Ethan listened carefully, then pulled her close. "You are not alone anymore. We will face everything together." She stayed.
They were married on a beautiful sunny day under the big old oak tree near the new well. The entire valley came to celebrate. There was laughter, music, and dancing in the same place that had once been silent with sadness. A few months later, a rough stranger with cold eyes and a gun rode into town, asking questions about Josephine Harper. Before he could reach the farm, the people of Cedar Valley stepped forward like one strong wall. Farmers with pitchforks, women with determined faces, even children standing bravely. Ethan stood at the front. "This is our home," he said in a firm voice. "Josephine is our family now. You are not welcome here." The stranger looked at all the united faces, cursed quietly, turned his horse around, and rode away forever. After that day, no one ever came looking for Josephine again. Many years passed. Ethan and Josephine had 2 beautiful children, a strong boy who loved the land like his father, and a gentle girl with her mother's calm gray eyes. The farm became rich with wheat, corn, and healthy cattle. The well never ran dry. On quiet evenings, Ethan would sit on the porch with his family, watching the green fields stretch far into the distance. He would remember the dark days when he had almost given up. Then he would look at Josephine, smile warmly, and say, "The real treasure was never the water hidden under the ground. The real treasure was the faith that kept us digging, the hard work that never stopped, and the love that turned a dying land into a happy home." And in the heart of Cedar Valley, the clear water still flowed, a quiet reminder that even in the hardest and driest times, hope, courage, and true love can bring life back again. Thank you for riding along on this story. Drop your location and time one more time if you'd like, and if it touched you, like, send some stars, follow, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. See you in the next tale.